Okay, so I think we might make a start, it being 4:01. So first of all, I'd just like to say thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. It's lovely to see so many people from literally all over the world. So a big welcome to everybody. My name is Jacqueline Pumphrey, and I work for the University of Oxford. I work in the Clinical Neurosciences Department, where I am the Communications and Public Engagement Manager. So I'm just going to run through a few housekeeping points and explain how the session is going to run. So first of all, please make sure you're muted, but please keep your cameras on if you'd like to. It's nice to see all your faces. The session is being recorded just so that we can share it with people who can't make it today. And in the next hour, we're going to have a very short introduction to the project which gave rise to this exhibition. And then we will enjoy a virtual tour of all the artworks. And after that, we're going to hear from one or two people who've been involved in the project. And at the end, everyone is going to have a chance to ask questions if you want to, either by writing them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask your question. So for now, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Professor Kristalina Antoniadis, who's been leading this project with me. Kristalina is a neuroscientist with a passion for art. Over to you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. It's absolutely fantastic to see everybody here. I'm delighted to welcome everyone to the launch of our virtual exhibition, Vision and Voices. This exhibition was born out of the Picturing Parkinson's project that brings together artists, patients, neuroscientists, neurologists to bridge the gap between objective research into Parkinson's disease and people's lived experience with this condition. It draws on the OxQuip study, which is short for Oxford Quantification in Parkinson's, which is a research trial here at the University of Oxford in the John Radcliffe that I lead. This exhibition is a culmination of workshops with people living with Parkinson's and their families. They were held both in person and online because of COVID over the past few years, really, facilitated by our lead artist, Jan Sargent, otherwise known as the Woman with Stick. It's been a great pleasure and a real honor to work with Jan. She spoke my language and we shared a common vision to create a space for everyone to feel welcome and relaxed, to express themselves and share their own personal journeys, both the good and the bad, their everyday reality, really. We have just amplified their voices as loud and as clear as possible. I really hope you enjoy what I have planned for you today. Back to you, Jacqueline.
Thank you very much, Kristalina. So now I'd like to hand over to Jan Sargent, the lead artist for this project, who's going to give us an introduction.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being with us and joining us today for the launch of this very special exhibition, Visions and Voices. The significance of this work is there in its title. These are the visions and the voices of people who live with Parkinson's. The workshops offered us a space to share that lived reality. Sometimes the reality that's not fully understood by other people, even the clinicians working with us. We shared how we felt day to day, year to year. We shared our frustrations, our fears, our challenges, our achievements, our joys. As the lead artist for this project, it's been my tremendous honor to support others to find their voice through art and poetry. One participant told me that the experience had been the first time that they'd ever felt it possible to really explore and articulate how they felt about living with Parkinson's. Yes, I am an artist. I'm an artist outside the PD community. I'm represented globally by a New York gallery. My work is shown regularly in exhibitions across the world. I also have Parkinson's. Quite a lot of my own work explores how it feels to live with the condition. But this project didn't need me to tell other people about my work. It needed me to develop that kind of space, a climate of trust and honesty, within which others could explore their feelings, share their work, and find their voice. It needed workshops where the emphasis was on dialogue between the participants, not listening to me. The results of this work are now celebrated in this wonderful exhibition, which has been curated by my husband and carer, Ted Kennedy. And if I'm a bit biased, I don't apologise. I think it is fantastic. To pull it all together the way that he has is a real celebration of what we've done together as a whole team. He's also created a window through which others can look and understand. My thanks to the Oxford team for involving me in this, for sharing with me, for trusting me. I took them into waters sometimes uncharted. Let's have small breakout groups. Let's go into breakout rooms. Let's pull people together. No, I won't script that bit. You'll have to trust me to do what I used to do as a teacher, and I'll synthesize it. And they're kind of going, oh, okay. And we did it. And we worked together, and we took risks together, and we made it work. Thank you to the people that participated, and thank you to that team. My last words are taking me back to my own roots as an English graduate, not an artist. So to coin a phrase, sort of, from Shelley, with one of my favourite poems, Ozymandias, look on my works, ye mighty, but don't despair. Be inspired. Thank you.
That was fabulous. Thank you so much, Jan. Okay, so now we're going to see two videos, and the first video consists of a set of instructions from Ted, the curator, about how to navigate the exhibition in your own time after the launch. So we hope you're going to be intrigued enough by what you see today to spend a bit of time afterwards at a later date. We'll send you the URL so that you can go and have a look. So the first video you're going to see is just information about how to navigate the space online. But the second video is actually going to be a virtual tour of all the artworks, a sort of quick whistle-stop tour today. So now I'm going to invite Lily to share her screen so that we can watch those two videos.
Welcome to the exhibition Visions and Voices. I'm Ted Kennedy, the curator, and I'd like to show you how to get the most out of this virtual gallery. There are three ways to navigate through the gallery. The first is a free walk, where you control where you want to go using the arrows on the bottom right of the screen. The icon on the top right with three bars gives you access to a menu that allows you to see a list of works, go to full screen, go back to the start, and more. You can also stop to gain further information by clicking on an artwork. This is in detailed view. You've got an information icon on the top right, and you can also click on play if there's an audio play sign underneath a particular work or a panel. You can do this whichever way you choose to navigate. The second way to navigate is to work your way through the show in a sequence from start to finish. You'll find the start as you enter the exhibition. You see a grey introduction panel on the left of your screen. Click on that and you can listen to the audio intro from Jan Sargent, the lead artist.
Welcome to an art exhibition with a difference. Picturing Parkinson's Visions and Voices.
You also have some navigation icons in the bottom right of your screen. These will take you through the exhibition one work at a time. You also can see you've got a request envelope, and you can use that for making comments or for contacting the individual artists or the team. You can use the previous and next buttons to move through. And you're staying in detailed view. This way you control the speed at which you go through the exhibition, and of course you can still pull up additional information on each of the works. If by any chance you exit detail view by mistake or accident, just click on another artwork and you will go back into it. The third way to navigate is the guided tour. And you can see this on the first screen you'll see as you access the exhibition. So if we start the guided tour, you can select at this point, or you can select later on from the drop-down menu on the right-hand side. You can click and pause in any piece of work to pull up any information, narration as before, but be aware that the guided tour does move at a reasonable pace and it won't pause for you to hear the audio tracks unless you select pause tour. Again, you can use the buttons on the right hand side to pause the tour and have access to the drop down menu. And you can either go back to the start, you can request help, go to full screen. If you start the tour, it will start from the point at which you paused the first tour. So if you want to go back to the beginning, you have to use back to start.
We hope that you enjoyed this preview of the exhibition. And as I said, we hope that it's intrigued you to visit it in your own time, and we will send you a link after this session so that you can go and do that. But for now, what we'd like to do is find out from some of the participants in the art workshops what impact this whole project has had on them. And first of all, I would like to invite Sally Bromley to speak. Sally, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello.
Thank you very
Hello.
much indeed. Yes. Well, I knew that Kristalina had a fascination and an interest in the unusual fact that some people with Parkinson's have taken up a creative interest. Some now write, but more choose art. I spoke about living with Parkinson's at a fundraiser in aid of Parkinson's UK. When I'd finished, I returned to my seat and I got a tap on my shoulder. Jan introduced herself as a fellow Parkie. As our conversation progressed, she told me about her paintings and that she'd not painted before she was diagnosed. Well, of course, I put Kristalina and Jan in contact with each other, and I was invited to the first painting session. And I was particularly attracted to Jan's portrayal of her Parkinson's woman with stick. Jan told us we were to only use paint, no drawing first, as I'd imagined. It was time to try our hand at creating something. So hard to picture Parkinson's. I tried a colourful before Parkinson's with the dark monochrome after the diagnosis, but that wasn't how I feel. I considered a tree to represent my new life of Parkinson's. Pardon? Yes, but that, sorry. I tried a colourful before Parkinson's with a dark monochrome after diagnosis, but that wasn't how I feel. I considered a tree to represent my new life with Parkinson's, but that wasn't right. You see, I feel I have some support with my choosing where my Parkinson's takes me. I can see no one, nor can I see an image. So I try to create something best described as my demon. Oh, it's not malevolent, and it sits on my shoulder. My creation is somewhat ethereal, which shadows its very being. Who would have thought that a chance meeting with, sorry, who would have thought that a chance meeting could have led others with Parkinson's to investigate their own creativity and have taken part in the sessions led by Jan? I know that a number of people have benefited from being part of the sessions, and I hope they've gone away picturing their own Parkinson's or simply taken up a new, creative and fulfilling pastime. Sorry about the interruptions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sally, for sharing that. And thanks for sharing your screen and the images as well. The second person I'd like to invite to speak is the person who composed the music that you have just been listening to in the background to the exhibition, and that is Janice Grimes.
I'm so honored to have been asked to speak. Thank you so much. I still have days when I'm in shock that I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, but even more surprising is my new love of poetry. I've always been interested in drawing and painting, but art with words never occurred to me. Picturing Parkinson's has shown me how words and paintings can go together, and in the process has given me a renewed love of life and a curiosity about art, poetry, people, and places that I had never had before. Jan Sargent, as a teacher and mentor, is fantastic. She's inspiring, kind, encouraging, and meeting Jan and all those both staffing and attending the workshop was just mind-bending for me. To meet so many people with Parkinson's who were living well and discovering their talents was so exciting. It convinced me once again that people with Parkinson's are just like everyone else, except that we have to deal with this condition. I put that in quotes. It is the goal of all of us, I would venture to say, to get the public to view us as valuable, contributing members of humanity who have much to offer, if you can get past that occasional shuffling and shaking of a person with Parkinson's. Picturing Parkinson's has opened up a new world for me and helped me to see myself in a new light. It has been my silver lining since my diagnosis. The creativity inspired by this group, this program, has lifted my spirits and my whole sense of well-being. In addition to the art and poetry, I was able to use my musical talent in the production of this video, Picturing Parkinson's, by providing the musical underscore. My husband, Bill Grimes, composed the music and I recorded it. And this gave me yet another facet of participation in this whole project. Very exciting to have been asked to do that. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of this on so many levels. The people I've met have been blessings to me, enriching my life and helping me to live better with Parkinson's. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. I think after everybody's spoken, we're all going to have to unmute and give a big round of applause, aren't we? Let's save that to the end of the few speakers we've got. So let me see who's next. I would next like to invite Nancy Signer to speak to us. Over to you, Nancy.
Wow, I haven't followed Jan. Okay. I've had Parkinson's for about 12 years, and prior to Parkinson's, I had no real artistic talent. But the year before last, I started copying other artists' work, and I found that I really enjoyed painting. And then I met Jan online, and she encouraged me in both painting and writing. And I have done a little bit of writing, written a book. But anyway, that Jan encouraged me to do. She also invited me to participate in this workshop and Picturing Parkinson's. And what an eye-opener that for me, that there were actually other people out there with Parkinson's who were doing the same thing that I was trying to do, expressing their Parkinson's journey through their artwork, either visual or poetry. And that had the biggest impact on me because they were expressing the theme of not being understood by medical caregivers, not really listened to was a common subject that came through. And it was very refreshing that this workshop's goal was to find a way to bridge that gap and give us a voice to help begin this arduous process. So thank you, Christina and Jan and all those behind the scene. This group became a support group for me of sorts, and everyone was of a like-minded thinking, hey, Parkinson's was definitely, getting Parkinson's is definitely being handed the dirty end of the stick, but let's wipe it off, see what's underneath and go ahead.
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Nancy. The next person, the penultimate person we're going to hear from is Joe O'Connor. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When I first heard about the project, I heard about it from Mel DeZion, who was the coordinator of education at the Davis Finney Foundation. And honestly, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but it has been an incredible experience. In my work life, I was very much a person who dealt in numbers and hard facts and stuff like that. And now I'm finding that in my second work life, I can deal in abstracts and paintings and poetry, and it's just been wonderful being involved in this. This has been an incredible experience for me. I can't say enough about it. It's just been fantastic, and I am so glad that I didn't get scared away, because when I started to see the art that you folks were producing, I was kind of scared, but I'm glad I persevered through it. And I thank you all for the support that you gave us, me especially, as a kind of a fledgling artist. So thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's great to hear from you. So the final person who's going to share some thoughts is Ted Kennedy. Over to you now, Ted.
I've been involved in all the workshops and throughout the project, and I've tried to bring the carer's perspective, the voice of the carer, into the discussions. Carers are often overlooked, sometimes almost ignored. You can feel ignored, and sometimes that's by clinicians. But I think this has helped balance the viewpoints and helped to bring the carer's voice to the fore. I was sitting last night and I was making some bullet point notes for what I might say today. And Jan, ever the teacher, looked over my shoulder and said, do you know, that's a poem. So actually, we've put it together as a poem, and includes voices from various carers' social media groups that I've been involved with, and I've listened to voices on there, so some of that fits into here. And we are going to actually read that together. Because as you might have noticed, Elpis, which was the last mannequin on the video, Elpis is a combination of carer and the person with Parkinson's, because you are brought together with this condition and you move forward together. So I felt it was right that Jan and I both contributed to reading this. This, Kristalina, is the second poem I've ever read in my written in my life, and I blame your project for it. Anger, despair, frustration, lost dreams and horizons. Not everyone comes through. No trips abroad, anxiety over a 5-mile journey, and sedatives for longer. Carers, if still together, conjoined, can't move forward, trapped, frozen, or rooted.
But there's hope. Embrace new horizons, new different dreams. Take a new journey.
You know it won't last. You know what the future will be. So does she. If you're both brave, you prepare.
But many will hide. Reality is there, no progress. The future is about coping as best.
Still, carers are in there. Still, they work together. Still, they support.
What about those without carers? Where are they? Where is their hope? Where are those carers at the end of the journey? Where is their support? Where is their hope and future?
This is the power of expression. This is the reality of life with PD. This is also the carer's reality.
Creativity is hope.
Embrace a new different path. We paint, we write, we sing. We go forward together.
We go forward together with love. Always with love.
Thank you. Can I invite anyone who wants to unmute and give a round of applause to everybody who has just shared to that. Thank you very much. There we are. What's next? It's almost, we've actually got through this a little bit quicker than we thought, which is brilliant, because that means we've got more time for people to ask questions and have a chat. But first of all, it's my pleasure to ask Jan and Kristalina to give some concluding thoughts and words. So first of all, I think we're going to have Jan and then Kristalina.
I'd like to say thank you to everyone here joining us for the launch. Thanks very much for the vision that drives this forward, and that vision is Kristalina Antoniades, and she is a tremendous person, and I have the utmost respect for that woman. She combines so many different things in her lives. I don't know how she does it. What we've done together, I think, is created a platform, not only for voices to be heard through images and words, not only something which we hope will impact on the thinking of clinicians and neuroscientists in the future, but also a legacy for the future. A legacy which means that the contributions of many people, including that of one quiet man who's no longer with us. Rest in peace, Brian. Those voices will be heard forevermore. Please see our visions. Please hear our voices. We are people with Parkinson's, and we have something to say. Kristalina asked me to finish with a poem. and I'll do so. It's a poem of celebration. She loved the music of wind whistling under doors, and she swore tides swelled a symphony of their own. She was convinced the clouds painted their own movement across skies sketched in shadowy charcoal drifts of smoke. Teasing rooftops, glowering above folds of moon-kissed fields. She'd heard snowdrops gasp, white wonder stuttering frozen faces, drowsy still with winter sleep, heard lilac hyacinths as they sighed their fragrance into a new dawn. When the breeze tiptoed in to stroke her cheek, she knelt to smell warmed earth, felt the promise of new life in her belly, circled it in one hand, and she sang. Thank you.
Thank you, John. That was incredibly beautiful. Right. Before we start taking some questions, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for this last 40 minutes. And I do hope you have enjoyed what you have seen and what you have heard. I hope that you're able to visit the whole virtual exhibition in your own time and to listen to the poems, see the pieces of art produced by these amazing individuals. It's been an incredible honor for me to meet every single person as part of this journey. You have all let me into your lives, into your families, and it's just a real pleasure to be able to give something back in a different way from our clinical and research life. I'd like to say a big thank you to the Picturing Parkinson's team, to all my Housekeeping team here who are absolutely tremendous, every single one of them, and particularly to Jacqueline for taking this journey with us and making things happen quietly in the background. She's always at the background, always making things happen. Thank you ever so much, Jacqueline, for believing in the project and looking forward to continue working with all of us. I want to thank also specifically Lily, my lovely DPhil student, who is always working tirelessly to make every single success, every single event is such a success. And of course, to Max and Gloria, who've been heavily involved with this project. I'd like to thank the patients and their families for letting us into their lives, for sharing their journeys, to the lovely speakers that joined us today. And it's just a glimpse of what we have experienced, what we have shared, why it's so much fun getting together. It's the hour that I look forward to, right? During my crazy clinical and research lives. To Sally, we couldn't have done this without you, because had you not put us together, we would have had John and I nagging everybody to do this. To Nancy and Joe for being such amazing individuals and offering so much to the project. I can't thank you enough. And to Janice for composing this stunning piece for us. Every time I played, I remember, conversations we've had together, things that we've shared, things that you've shared with the group, but also I remember you and how happy you've always been in every single part of the workshops that we've had. Lastly, and certainly not least, a huge thank you to you, Ted and John, for your support, for your team spirit and your love that you give me every single day, besides the workshops and besides the sort of things that we do together. John, you are really, really a true inspiration, not only to me and to my team, and I think I speak behalf on everybody here, that you have been truly inspirational to all of us. You have this unique ability, John, to bring people together, but above all, to bring the best out of people, which is a very difficult thing to be able to do, while you continue your own journey with the condition that we desperately want to try and figure out. I'm looking forward to continuing working with you, working with everybody and anybody else who wants to join us, and to our next steps together. Thank you, everybody, for staying this long. We're hoping to have another Zoom gathering at the end of January. It's still in the makings, really. We're still discussing it, so we'll let you know, where we'll be asking people to come and share their experiences after they've seen the exhibition, after they've heard the poems, after they've had time to explore for themselves and maybe connected in different ways, regardless whether they've got Parkinson's or someone else. Thank you for listening, and we are happy to take any questions, any comments, anything that anybody would like to let us know.